Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bold Analysis. And in this video, I want us to look at the Statehouse meeting between the President-elect William Samoei Ruto and outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta. Immediately after 4:30 p.m., the President-elect Dr. William Samoei Ruto was driven to Statehouse in a Lexus and received by the first family, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Margaret. Ruto was also accompanied by the wife, Rachel Ruto, before cameras in a show of demonstration of our democracy and demonstration of power handover, or rather a handshake. After meeting Ruto for I think close to 30 minutes, outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta came out to give a speech, a State of the Nation address that lasted for 20 minutes. And Uhuru spoke passionately. I listened through that speech. He spoke about his legacy projects for the last 10 years, projects on infrastructure, electricity, the digital economy, and others, intent and confirming that tomorrow on 13th September, on Tuesday, he's going to attend the inauguration ceremony in Kasarani and hand over the instruments of power to now the incoming President William Samoei Ruto, acknowledging Ruto's victory after August 9th general election and subsequent Supreme Court verdict in what can be seen as a pitch of democracy. And the president came out and publicly congratulated William Ruto for having got the mandate of the people to be the fifth president, or rather to lead the fifth regime. And I listened to that. I want to believe that, number one, that meeting was planned, and I don't think what the president presented for the country for the 30 minutes, for the 15 minutes, is what they discussed with Deputy President. Then they went for that meeting. If they wanted to talk about something that is sensitive and something that is of great importance to William Ruto's next regime, then the 30 minutes that William Ruto was in Statehouse was not enough. And maybe that will not even be done before the cameras. Maybe it will be more of a closed-door meeting, an informal talk, just place calls and have night calls and speak about it. But I want to tell the Kenyan people that that meeting, and remember, they even invited media. And so everything was captured. It was very significant, and it was planned to show the country, and it was a pitch not only to Kenyans but also to the international community that is coming in the country. Do you think it was part of the transition plan? No. Why do you think that meeting was fixed? Because someone needed to get the handshake video, photo with the president tomorrow. You will not be shocked to see the photo that was captured in Statehouse being in the newspapers and setting agenda for the day alongside the swearing in, the inauguration ceremony. And in my analysis, I want to point out that this was a top intelligence activity that was guided by intelligence reports on the public uncertainty of the transition tomorrow. Now, that transition is something that is in our constitution, and the Kenyan public, quite a number of people, had mixed feelings, or rather mixed reactions to that event. owing to the stories that have been told and the propagandas that have just come out about it, where for the last one day, there have been a conversation about a private developer who was given the tender to live stream the event from Kasarani. And of course, the reports about mainstream media being sidelined came out, while it was treated as an opportunity to support and to bolster the national broadcaster. But again, to people who may be supporting the other side of the political divide and were watching this other station, felt like someone did not want them even now to follow that proceeding. And of course, there is different interpretations to whatever is going to happen tomorrow. And I can say that the president knows very well, and the handlers now knows very well, that tomorrow there is going to be a public display of a show of might and our democracy in Kasarani. It's a presidency. It's a very delicate transition where, after working as a deputy for 10 years, this is someone that was in government, is going to hand over power to his deputy, people from two different regions, and of course, even the president and the deputy come from the same place. So there was a bit of that. It was guided by intelligence, so that to calm any tension between the two camps and to also just bring the mood of the country down. Remember, Raila Odinga may not attend and have labor reports that maybe is out of the country, is taking a vacation, and there've just been a lot of uncertainty in it. But then, this was also very strategic, and why the intelligence might have advised it is to boost the confidence of the foreign dignitaries that are attending. Remember, there are 20 dignitaries from different parts of the country, from different parts of the world, a delegation from the US, and quite a number of them. They were coming in the country, but even ahead of this swearing in, the president had not sent a congratulation message to the president-elect. And even though President Uhuru Kenyatta has been quoted in different platforms saying that he's going to hand over power to the incoming president, smiling, but his leader is Raila Odinga, maybe some of the foreign dignitaries could not even come to attend because they were not sure of what is going on. I know, to someone watching this video, can look at it that it was in plain truth, black and white, that of course there is a transition and Uhuru Kenyatta was going to hand over power, and so no one ought to have worried. But in other countries, not like in African countries, there are countries, and we don't want to name, there are countries that have never witnessed a smooth transition. And even when we talk about transition, they're like, is it even true? So some of those foreign dignitaries, for them to make sure and just to know that it will be safe, everything is in place, they needed to get that image of outgoing president and the incoming president-elect. That was equally necessary. However, on a communication perspective, the handlers and the Statehouse team might have then floated and organized this press briefing and this meeting. Remember, to visualize the Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy project, even during the transition conversation. And when the president spoke there, even the people who advised William Ruto not even the people who organized it, that William Ruto was not going to be part of that press briefing, they really got it very right. Because when the president, some of the things that the president spoke about that he achieved, they achieved when they were with William Ruto, as not even when. All of it, they achieved when they were with William Ruto as a deputy. So there could be nothing new. And because there is the break of Uhuru Ruto, I think it's trending in Twitter, it was trending at number 1, the Uhuru Ruto, and now the Uhuru is going to break because one person is now leaving. But tomorrow, as people will talk about a transition, you will not, and it will be so unfair if the media will not look at Uhuru's Ruto as a government and what they achieved. And why that was very important, I think the president wanted to remind, the president wanted to bring that conversation and the focus on their legacy, because tomorrow you will expect the president-elect Uhuru Kenyatta's William Ruto's speech to be progressive onto what the fifth regime is going to bring on table. So it will be more progressive, even though it will be building on what Uhuru has done, but his speech will be more progressive. So the people who organized it wanted also to get visibility on what Uhuru has done. And that is why in his speech, he has remarkably mentioned about things that they achieved in the 10 years as a tenure and show the country Ruto handshake. For long, Mount Kenya team, their section of Mount Kenya, that have been asking that the president should not leave Statehouse before a handshake with his deputy. And I can tell you that William Ruto, President Uhuru Kenyatta, just wanted to make sure that before he leaves Statehouse, he can just have a handshake and make peace with his deputy. Remember, we are coming from a highly emotive political campaign where there have been sides, there are tantrums, and the throw of words from both sides. And I think many people criticized that the president's involvement in the campaigns is what might have polarized the ground. But again, it proved wrong. It proved these critics wrong, because there was nothing, there was no lawlessness that was experienced in this election. In fact, we had a very peaceful one. So the president might have been advised that before making an exit from Statehouse, just have a handshake with the deputy president. And do not be shocked, that image and that photo will be there. Everything is planning. And I can tell you that that meeting was for cosmetics. So why do you think the president really went for that handshake? The president went for that handshake, and it was needed for the region of Mount Kenya to solve the Mount Kenya equation. I can tell you that tomorrow, or rather without that handshake, you will still see the Mount Kenya team that now are going to be part of this government, the ones that are UDA, even as of till today, they were attacking the president. So the president will just want to sublime from the public, and after tomorrow, I can tell you that it will not be, maybe you'll just find, will come once in a while in some few public events here and there, but President Uhuru Kenyatta will be taking a backseat. That is one thing I can surely tell you. And what that speech also tells you is, if you look at the way the president was talking, he spoke about the things, his political journey, when he was a finance minister, deputy prime minister, when he also spoke about when he was the leader of opposition, a member of parliament for Gatundu, a minister, and local government, and then the president. The tone of that speech was one that, if you interpret it, Uhuru was simply also showing the mountain that I am making a grand exit. I am making a grand exit. And that also information that was reaching out to everyone, even on the Azimio wing and everyone, that the president is making an exit, documenting everything he has done. In that speech, you will listen to the voice of President Uhuru Kenyatta saying that I have done what I have done, I have achieved what I have achieved, it's my time to leave the space. And as from that speech, I can tell you that President is no longer Jubilee party leader, and not the chairman of Azimio la Umoja. The chairmanship of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya was only viable with Raila Odinga as a president. But without that, that position is not necessary, and I don't think it will be activated. That's something that you can see, and of course will set back and be an advisory to the coming fifth regime. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my bold take. Apart from what the president spoke, I also want to get to the comment section. People who can Just decode and tell us why that meeting, State House meeting, was fixed.